What if I told you that Metal Gear Solid was also a game you could play in the desert?
I would say I've already done that.
What if I said that you could be a bandit instead of Snake?
I like Snake.
Okay, fine. Hey guys, this is Moriarty, and today we're taking a look at a game called Badiya. I assume that's how you pronounce it. Unfortunately, I don't really know. This is a desert survival game.
Hey guys, this is Brax, and is this more like survival in terms of looting and crafting, like Rust, or is it more survival as in, I just need to shoot other people and make sure they don't kill me first?
It's not about fighting other people exactly. It's about being in the desert and being part of the desert culture. There's a bunch of different classes that you can choose to be, and you can outfit and customize the character to your heart's content. It's not terribly important to do that because every face looks identical, except it might have a slightly longer jaw. The whole point of this is to experience being in the desert. Which brings me to the very first problem I have with this game. It's not that it's an ugly game, because it's not. And it's not that it's not an enjoyable game, because it is. It's that everything is really far away, and the desert lasts forever.
Isn't that sort of realistic, though? I've never been in a desert, but I assume that's kind of how it would feel, yeah?
While it sounds like a cool idea, in practice, it's not actually all that much fun to be walking for 15 or 20 minutes on a sand dune with nothing around.
I suppose that's a fair point to make. A lot of people make that argument about lots of survival games, though, right? Like people say, I don't like PUBG because all I do is run around for 30 minutes and then get shot in the back. So that's kind of to be expected, but when you say 15 to 20 minutes of just running around the desert, that does really sound boring at first glance.
And I don't mean running around the desert doing stuff like looting and stuff like that. I mean literally you're going to spend 20 minutes running in the desert, and it's a desert. There's nothing there.
Then why are you running around in the desert?
Because you have various quests you need to do. Now, thankfully, there is a fast travel that will allow you to get around a little bit easier, but the map is huge. They say that this map is endless, and I kind of believe them on that, because I think that what happens is after a certain point, it's just endless desert.
Well, the map being endless isn't necessarily a good thing if it's very barren, and it feels like you're just running around on sand with nothing else around the entire time. But I guess that's impressive. To feel like you're in a truly open world that never ends, that's impressive, yeah?
I suppose. But it also meant that I spent several hours playing this game, and I was unable to do anything because everything was so far away. I also believe that their concept of distance is broken, because things will be 1.7 miles away. And in reality, they're a lot closer to 15 or 20 miles away. You will just run in an endless, open desert forever and never get there.
So there's no other forms of transportation, like horses or anything you could take?
There's a fast travel system. It kind of works. It allows you to go to certain places, not every place. I don't know why it allows you to go to some places and not another. It seems that it will only take you to places that you've been, but you can still go to some places you haven't been. It's very confusing. This is not a game that's finished. I should clarify that. It's in early access, and so I kind of expect for it to be broken, and it is. There's no explanation of things. It's not that the game doesn't work. I never had any bugs. I never had any problems where the game was broken, but it's broken in terms of, I don't know how this thing works or what I'm supposed to do. What's the overarching goal? I don't think there is an overarching goal, by the way. I think it's literally just experiencing a period of time.
That doesn't sound super duper awesome to me. I'm wondering where you got the Metal Gear Solid comparison from, to be honest with you.
Because there is stealth, there is takedowns, there are things like that, where you are going to be taking out bad guys in combat. It's just so infrequent that it doesn't happen that often. Plus, it's got Survive in it, which is, of course, the best Metal Gear game.
That is not a real Metal Gear game. I don't acknowledge that game's existence, so I'm just going to pretend that you didn't just say that. I guess, though, if I were to pretend that Metal Gear Survive actually existed, I would say this looks about like that. That's not a good thing. That is not a good thing.
Now, I want to say that this game has a lot of stuff in it. It has a lot of stuff in it. There are horses and camels, eventually. I don't know how you get them. There's hunting and skinning, there's cooking, you have to build your own camps, craft tools, there's mining, there's harvesting, there's trading, there's wardrobe, there's customization, there are tanks, there's giant battle systems, there's weather, it's got time of day, it's got different terrain, it's got all sorts of different randomized encounters. You could become a trader that trades spice across the desert, or you can become a treasure hunter that's inspecting ancient ruins, or you can become a bandit, or. There's a lot of stuff in this game. You can follow desert caravans. I mean, there's so much stuff in this game.
That's exciting. I see those sorts of time sinks happen a lot, and this could be one of those games where people say, "Hey, join my server," and then they have a group and they spend just hundreds of hours playing this game and doing their thing in their own unique, particular way. I think that's super cool. I think a lot of people enjoy that in certain survival games, and it's something that people can spend a lot of time in. But I'm getting a feeling right now that this isn't doing something right.
And I don't know what that is. First off, I should say that yes, I absolutely think that people will enjoy being in a server and having that. But that doesn't exist in this game yet, because it's early access. Multiplayer is not part of it yet, which means that you are alone in this giant world with stuff, which isn't as cool as you might think it would be. Yes, they have a lot that they want to do. They plan on having dynamic fires that will literally spread through an entire forest and cause the wood in that area to disappear. They have all sorts of different stuff that they want to add into it in terms of destruction and deformations and having sea travel and procedural tombs and, I mean, just so much stuff, right? Like, this sounds like the most ambitious game of all time. But right now, there's just endless desert. And that's kind of the problem that I had, was most of my time ended up being running in the desert, realizing that I was nowhere near where I needed to be, turning around and running back to camp to sell stuff because I'd run out of my incredibly limited amount of ammunition.
So what we're left with is a very early look at a game that just doesn't have enough in it yet, because of its early access state, to really even form an educated opinion, because there's just simply not enough in it. It looks like it has boatloads of potential, right? And it sounds like they want to do lots of really cool stuff with it, but I've experienced this before when I'm sent a game and I hop into it, and all of the stuff that I read about it and that excited me just wasn't there yet. And I could look around and feel like, well, that's going to be cool if it happens. That's going to be neat when it happens. But when it's not there, it's so hard to form an opinion and recommend or not recommend it to someone, because you have the potential for it to be one of the coolest, most awesome open world games of all time, or you have the potential for it to be this very empty thing with just a few things added in, and then, it's ready for full release. And you can't predict the future, so you don't really know.
I think you're actually missing one thing, which is that, according to the developers, most of this stuff is already in the game. It's just that I can't find any of it because the world is too big. I can't actually get anywhere. I don't know where anything is, and when you get a quest, and it's literally 20 or 30 minutes of walking away, and it's your first quest, it's really, really hard to take that and go, oh, okay, I'll try this now. You end up going, okay, that's so far away, how do I get there? What am I doing? This needs a beginner's zone.
It definitely seems that way, right? Because regardless of why or how and whether it will change or not, when you put players in a position that they feel like they don't know what's going on, and they feel overwhelmed, or not even overwhelmed, but just simply bored because there's no direction, right? There's no sense of what I'm supposed to be doing. And if there is, it takes so long to get to that point. then it's kind of a turnoff in the first few hours of the game. And I've said this before, if you put players in that position, it's really unfortunate for you as a developer because they may never get the chance to get to the really awesome stuff. And it sounds like this might be suffering from that sort of thing where it takes a long time to get to the cool part. And that's not necessarily going to draw players in the first few minutes that they play it. So it may be one of those things where I play it for a couple of hours and I uninstall it and never play it again. And I could have potentially missed out on a really cool experience with all of those things that you've said. I want to be a spice trader. That sounds neat to me. I like making money in games. Maybe I want to decide I want to just be a bounty hunter in this game. I think that would be awesome too. But when it isn't there for me to experience quickly enough, I start to feel like it's incomplete.
Which is fair. And that's kind of where it leaves off for me. I never was able to find anything. I would occasionally find, like, here you go, you found a ruins. And then I would die because I had no direction, so I had nothing, and I just died. Additionally, I might find, oh, hey, here's a bandit camp. Cool. And I'd shoot them, and it did no damage because I have some crappy starter gun. And they would come out, and there'd be 30 of them, and they'd all lay waste to me. That's not really the best experience. And I listen to the things that the developer says are in this game, and I go, wow, that sounds really cool. I would like to experience that. I'd like to have that. That sounds like truly one of the most epic open world games that you could have. Nobody does this stuff that you can do all of these things. That doesn't exist. So the ability to do it would be cool. I would enjoy that. And again, it's not an unattractive game, so like people would play and they'd have fun with it, and that could be cool. But I never saw it. I never got to experience any of that stuff. Instead, what I experienced was endless running in sand dunes.
You did say it's in early access. Is it free to play early access, or do people have to pay money to try this thing out?
The game is $15. And the thing is that if all of the stuff is in the game and you can do all of that, then $15 is a steal. It's the only game you should buy. But considering what I've experienced, I don't know that it's worth it at all. And that's kind of the tough part. I cannot recommend the game, even with all of these cool things in it, because I never got to experience any of them.
I think that's totally fair, and I couldn't really expect anything else out of you. If you spend all of your time running through the desert, not interacting with anything, not seeing anything, it's going to be really hard to make a recommendation. But I will say this, all of those cool things that they have spoken of, if those things come to fruition, it might be worth coming back, taking another look at this after a big update, and then it might actually be super cool.
That's the thing. It could be super cool. Now, this is another game company that's going to be raising the price as things go up, so it may be something that you decide to pick up as an investment more than you pick it up as a game that you're actually going to play today. Similar to how people picked up Rust for $10 when it first came out. And that may be the right thing to do. It's very much a gamble, but if you're willing to take that gamble, then it could be a good gamble. So there you go, guys. That is Badiya. If you like it, like it. If you don't like it, then don't. But if you did, you can watch another one up there in the corner right now. And as always,
We'll see you guys on the next one.